Bonjour. Today we're going to look at how to show possession in French. That means how do we say my, your, his, her, our, and their in French. So in English, we only have one word to express possession for a person. We have my, your, his, and her. In French, there are three words that mean my. You have mon, which is masculine, ma, which is feminine, and mes, which is plural. So try saying that. Mon, ma, mes. The same is true with your. There are three words that mean your, and they rhyme with mon, ma, mes. They are just ton, ta, and te. So try saying all of those. Mon, ma, mes, ton, ta, te. Okay, here's where it gets really fun. There are three words that mean his or her also, but each word can be translated as his or her. So you have son, sa, ses. So try practicing all of those words now. Mon, ma, mes, ton, ta, te, son, sa, ses. Three words for my, three words for your, and three words for his and her. Okay, so now you're going to try your hand at filling in with the correct form of my. You have three sentences, one about Claire, one about Paul and Luc, and one about Claude. And you're going to try to fill in the correct form of my. Now that you've filled in Edpuzzle, here are your answers. Are you ready? First, we have Claire est ma mère, Paul et Luc sont mes frères, and Claude est mon oncle. Do you understand why? In the first one, you chose ma, the feminine, because it's talking about mère, mother, who's feminine. In the second one, you use mes, the plural form, because it's talking about brothers. And in the last one, you chose mon, the masculine form, because of oncle. So let's try the same thing now with the forms of your, ton, ta, and te. So you have qui est blank grand-père, qui est blank grand-mère, and qui sont blank cousins. Fill in your. So let's check your answers. In the first one, you should have put ton because grand-père is masculine. In the second, you chose ta, the feminine form, because grand-mère is feminine. And in the last one, you should have chosen te because cousin is plural. In English, we choose the possessive adjective based on the owner. So if the person who owns the father is male, we say his. And if it's female, we say her. This is not true in French. In French, it's what's being owned that's important. So with family, that's easy. So for example, père, father. Father is masculine, so therefore we would use son père to say his or her father. So try your hand at these two sentences. Okay, but remember the important word here is mère, not his or her. You have to think about mère. Is mère masculine or is it feminine? So let's check your answers. You should have Marie est sa mère and Michel est sa mère. Why? Because mère is feminine, mother, and so therefore we make the adjective agree with mother. Now, a lot of times this is a little mind-blowing for English speakers because the word sa can be translated as two different things. In the first sentence, it means Marie is his mother, And in the second, Michelle is her mother. You just know from the context. So, son can mean his or her, and you use it with masculine things or people. Sa can mean his or her, and you use it with feminine things or people. And se can mean his or her, and you use it with plural things or people. All right, let's do a little practice quiz to see how well you understand all of these possessive adjectives, okay? So I'll put up some stuff, and you'll put in the answers in Edpuzzle, and then I'll give you the answers afterwards so that I can check to see if you understand, okay? Allons-y. First, fill in the 3 different ways to say my, the 3 different ways to say your, and the 3 different ways to say his or her. You should have written down mon, ma, mes, ton, ta, tes, and son, sa, ses. Now, can you tell me what's the difference between each one? You should have written down that mon, ton, and son are all masculine. You should also have that ma, ta, and sa are all feminine. And finally, me, te, and se are all plural. Okay, so now you're going to practice filling in the blank here. So the first sentence has Paul a blank oncle, and you're going to fill in the correct form of your, ton, ta, or te. So pause right here, fill it in the Edpuzzle, and then we'll check. Okay, so in the first one, you should have gotten Paul est ton oncle, because oncle is masculine. In the second one, you should have put Anne est sa sœur, because sœur is feminine, sister. So in number 2, it doesn't matter that you're saying his sister. What matters is that sister is feminine. So in number 3, even though we're just saying Anne is also her sister, we're still going to use sa, because sister is still feminine. So in number 4, David est son cousin. Even though we're saying her, we're going to use the masculine form because David is a masculine person. So in numéro 5, we're going to say Claude et Luc sont ses cousins, because cousin here is plural. But even if our parentheses said her, we would still use ses because cousin is still plural. Numéro 6, you have Mireille et ma tante. You're choosing from mon, ma, mes, and you chose ma because tante, my aunt, is feminine. Très bien. You've made it halfway through, so we have learned 9 and we have 6 more to go. Okay, so we've learned all the singular adjectives. So that would be my, your, his, and her. And so now we need to learn the plural adjectives. So in English, those would be our, your, plural or formal, and their. The plural adjectives are actually easier than the singular adjectives because instead of having 3 forms, we only have 2 forms. So we have notre, nos, votre, vos, leur, and leur. So notre, votre, and leur can be used to describe one person, and they can be male or female. Nos, vos, and leur with an S are used to describe a group of people. So if you wanted to say our father, in French you would say notre père. Our mother would also be notre mère. But if you say our parents, that's plural, so we say nos parents. You might be thinking that notre sounds very familiar, and it probably does, as in Notre Dame University or Notre Dame de Paris, the cathedral where the hunchback lives. What does that mean? Notre Dame de Paris means Our Lady of Paris, and it refers to the Virgin Mary. Okay, now this works the same way with the forms of your, plural, and formal. If you want to say your father, you say votre père. Your mother would be votre mère. And your parents would be vos parents because they're plural. Okay, if you're a born and bred Southerner, votre and vos should make good sense to you because you're either going to use it with someone formally or you're using it as plural. So in the South, we would say, hey, is that y'all's dog? And that's what votre is. But let me explain it just a little bit more. So when would you use ton, ta, and te versus votre or vos? It all depends on whether you would choose to use tu or vous. So let's take a look at this conversation. In English, this conversation would sound like this. Hey, is that your dog? Yes, it's my dog. In French, since these are both kids, they would use the tu form. So their conversation would sound like this. Il est ton chien? Oui, il est mon chien. But what happens if we replace one kid in this conversation with an adult? It sounds almost the same. Sir, is that your dog? Yes, that's my dog. But not so in French. In French, our words are going to change. Monsieur, il est votre chien? Oui, il est mon chien. Let's make one more change and see what happens to our conversation. So if we have one person talking to two people, in English, it will sound the same. Is that your dog? And then they just answer, yes, it's our dog. But in French, we're going to have a different conversation again. Il est votre chien because you're talking to two people. So you would use vous. And then the answer, of course, would be the same. Oui, il est notre chien. Okay, so let's look at our last pair, which are leur and leur. They both mean their, and you'll notice that the S on the end of leur, plural, does not get pronounced. So if you want to say their father, it would be leur père. Their mother would be leur mère. And their parents would be leurs parents with an S, but you don't pronounce it. So I've made you this nifty little chart, and I've also given you your own copy of it in Canvas. So that way you can have it to use whenever you need it. So now it's time for une petite pratique. So let's see how well you understand these, okay? Okay, you're going to pause right here and fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Ed Puzzle question section. And then once you're finished, you can hit submit and then we'll go over the answers. Okay, in number 1, you should have gotten Paul est le grand-père because you needed a singular form of their. Number 2 should have been Marie est ma cousine because it's my and you need the feminine version. Numéro 3 should be Philippe est notre oncle. You're choosing from notre or no, and since oncle is singular, then you need notre. Numéro 4 is asking you to choose a form of your plural. So since your plural is vous, then you should know that you're choosing from votre or vos. And since mère is singular, you only have one, then you're going to choose votre mère. Numéro 5 asks you to choose a form of his. So that would be son, sa, or ses. Since tante is feminine, then you're going to choose sa. Okay, Try practicing these 5 the same way you did the first 5, and then after you've submitted your answers, we'll check them. Numéro 6 is asking for a form of your, and since it doesn't specify plural or formal, then you can just choose from the informal. So that means you chose from ton, ta, te, and so your answer should be te, because cousin is plural. Numéro 7 is asking for a form of her, so you're choosing from son, sa, or se. And mari is a husband, so that means it's masculine, so therefore you choose son as your answer. Numéro 8 is sa. Numéro 9 is also sa. Can you explain why? It's because his and her are the same 3 adjectives, son, sa, and se, and in both cases, it's talking about sœur, who is feminine. On numéro 10, a lot of people are tempted to choose say as the answer, but remember there are 2 forms of their, leur and leur, so you just choose one of those, and in this case, it's leur without the S because there's only one sister. Hoorah! You did it! You survived the possessive adjectives video. Hopefully this makes sense and you're going to get a little more practice today and tomorrow. So just keep working at it. And if you have questions, remember, you can always contact me.